Today's topic is unlimited possibilities. I'm Dr. Gerry Fishkin, and welcome to my show. And if you'd like to see more of my show, please subscribe. The subscription information is now going to be blasted on the screen. Take a look. And really, welcome back. You're the miracle, living in a field of unlimited possibilities. Know it, believe it, live it. These are the key phrases by today's guest. My guest today is Erin Sommerville. And I am thrilled to have Erin on the show today. I want to tell you a little bit why. When I was very, very anxious in the beginning of my cancer treatment, magic happened. A friend of mine who's a publicist sent me the name of 3 people to be guests on my show. And since I was just in the start of my cancer treatment, I wasn't going to have a show. But one name jumped out at me, Erin Sommerville. And what jumped out was this. Erin is a cancer specialist. And she's been an international teacher, lecturer, consultant, coach on mind, body, spirit for more than 30 years. For 15 years, she was the senior international trainer and therapist for the Simonton Cancer Center, founded by Carl Simonton, MD, who is an oncologist and pioneer in utilizing the mind and emotions to support the treatment of cancer. She co-created with Dr. Simonton a professional training program for cancer counseling in the United States, Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Japan. Erin was chosen as a visionary by the Long Beach, California Business Journal in July of 2018 as a woman with original ideas about what the future will or could be like and the impact of those ideas in the community. Erin was honored as a star by the American Cancer Society at their 43rd annual gala in Long Beach, California in June of 2018 for her courage, compassion, and leadership in the fight to eliminate cancer. She was my left and right hand in support of my treatment when I was going through it. And I can only say without her help, support, love, and kindness, I probably wouldn't be here today. So without further ado, it's my deepest pleasure to have you on my show today, Erin.
Oh, and I'm so happy to be here. Very honored to be here on your show, Gerry.
Oh, you're very welcome. So before we get into everything that you and I are going to talk about, a couple of things to say to the audience. Anything that we want to, as a warm-up or as a teaser?
Well, I think that for those of you that are tuning in today, some of you may have a diagnosis, just be diagnosed, or someone close to you. And I think it really is both of our desire that in this segment that you'll receive some hope, some inspiration, some creativity, some empowerment that's going to help you face this challenge. That's what I do every day when I work with patients.
Fabulous. That's exactly where we want to begin. Erin, thank you. So you and I have talked about your program, and I wanted to be able to focus specifically on some key points to help our audience understand cancer and your unique approach to its treatment. So why don't we start out with what makes your coaching so unique?
Well, one of the most central and unique pieces is that I don't focus on what is wrong. I help people to focus on what is right in this moment. Because when you focus on what is right, it's easier to feel inspired and courageous and open to the possibilities that can come out of a cancer diagnosis.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but to help, what can be the benefits? How can my life be better, healthier, to imagine that? We do talk about the illness, but that's not, you do that with your oncologist a lot. So when they come and see me, what do you love? What brings you joy? That connectivity to life is what keeps our immune system, and it energizes it. And it energizes us to be present in this day and why we love to be alive and why we want to get well.
So focusing on what's wrong can only lead to, in my world and in my view and in my experience, anxiety.
Yeah. Yes.
And that anxiety is antithetical to treatment. It works against treatment, right?
Absolutely. Because all kinds of different things happen in your body when you're focusing on what is wrong. You feel sad. It can lead to depression. You can feel hopeless. You can feel like a victim. You know?
So we don't want our patients to feel like victims. We want them to feel a sense of hope,
Right.
and courage.
And to seek the meaning in the journey that I heard you once say on a previous show.
Right.
Look for the purpose, look for the meaning in what's happening.
In the now.
Yes, and that's empowering, and it changes everything. You don't have to understand why it's happening. I'm also a cancer survivor, and as well as you.
Right.
We don't understand, why this has come into our life. I think it's a matter of trust and faith.
Right.
That this has come into my life, and somehow I'm going to find something within it that's going to make my life better.
Absolutely. And you and I have talked about this, but for our audience, I want them to know that when I was going through this, and you and I kind of have a little difference in agreement, that I said, to me, I didn't invite the cancer cells into my body. They were like, they jumped in there and they violated me. And I said, this is a war and I'm going to win this battle.
I consider it an imbalance in my body,
Okay.
an imbalance that I wanted to understand. I wanted to bring more. How could I bring more love and more joy? I wanted to understand and move forward with this in a way that would help resolve it. So for me, it was focusing on love and imagining the abnormal cells as the love going in there and surrounding them.
Right.
And that way eliminating them.
And my visualization was really interesting because I just saw myself blowing them up, you know, like a little video game.
Absolutely. And that's, a lot of people
throughout
use
my
that.
chemo and throughout my chemo, I just saw these cancer cells exploding.
Yep.
That was my visualization.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for you to come into my body. You were a violator. You violated my time, my space, and my body, and now I want you out.
Right.
And that was my ongoing
Yeah.
visualization, fantasy, and belief.
Yeah. And I think that everyone needs to find the imagery that works the best for them. And that's what's exciting when I meet someone. How do you visualize this happening? What's empowering for you? And there are lots of different ways to go about it.
That's right. And it's unique for
part of my job.
everybody.
Yes,
Correct?
exactly.
Wonderful. How do the emotions of love, joy, and wonder help us to heal and to thrive in the face of cancer?
Because that's, as I mentioned before, by focusing on those things that connect you to life, that bring you joy. People get well because they have reasons to get well. What do you love about life? What is compelling reasons as to why you want to be here? And it's a way of just stepping back and looking at your life and saying, what do I believe in the most? How do I connect to my life that gives me a sense of confidence and integrity? So people get well because they have compelling reasons to get well, Gerry. What connects you to life? What do you enjoy?
Look at the camera.
And
Talk to
the
those
interesting thing about this is that your body's immune system is wired for love and joy. We know that when you're focusing on what is wrong, your cortisol levels go up, your adrenaline goes crazy. I mean, all of these things can interfere with your body's recovery. We also know that when you focus on what you love and what brings you joy, what excites you, what you're passionate about, instantly, things begin to change. Chemicals in your brain, endorphins, dopamine, your serotonin goes up. Your body loves all of this. It's like candy for your immune system. And of course, things just go better when you're feeling that way.
So if I were to frame this in another context, if you have hope and joy, love, and wonder, we're not dealing with the fight, flight, freeze, or fold, the amygdala being hijacked from fear. In other words, we're in a more positive vein. We have the dopamine, we have the serotonin, we have hope and joy, but we're also chemically being reinforced.
Absolutely. Right on. Exactly. And there are studies that show that mindset can increase outcomes. It can reduce side effects. Your body's whole system is going to work more efficiently because of that. And then you can imagine that most desirable outcome, seeing yourself back healthier. And I believe you can be healthier than you were before.
Wow.
And that thought is really powerful.
And I believe that because it's happening with me. And I certainly don't want to generalize from my situation to the universe at large, because it's a poor generalization, but it has definitely worked for me. The sense of hope, the sense of wonder, the sense of how am I going to be better? But what have I learned from all of this? Has it brought me closer to my spiritual core?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when you have sacred beliefs, divine beliefs, spiritual beliefs, whatever they might be, they're like gold in this instant, because then you know that you have like this divine tribe that's showing up for you, that's helping you, that sense of support 24/7.
Right. And I can feel it as you're talking. So really the key here is pay attention to the things that connect you to life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Erin, how do you help people get back in touch with these emotions when many are in a state of fear and anxiety?
I ask them to become more aware of the story that they're telling themselves.
Their
Because-
narrative.
Yes, their narrative. Because you may not be aware of it, but if you stop and it right where you are and you can feel this fear and anxiety, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's coming out of the story that you've been hearing, that you've been telling yourself, which is why it's so important to know that you are unique. This is your journey. This is your path. Statistics, for the most part, throw those out. If it's not a good story of recovery, you don't want to hear it. You take domain over yourself, your mind, and your heart, and you are imagining. You don't know how it's going to happen, but you are imagining a desirable outcome, a great outcome. And by doing that, you start to tell yourself a story that is passionate and hopeful. And that's what I help people to create. And that takes courage, because when you are facing what may be your worst fear, what could be your ultimate death, to decide to say, oh no, I'm showing up. Why do I want to live? Who do I want to get well for? What are the things that I still want to do in life? And I'm going to start doing that today. And that attitude takes you to the next minute, the next hour, and the next day. And that changes everything. That's what I've seen.
Very existential approach, isn't it?
Yes.
Erin, when you're living in the now and you're not ruminating on what the worst outcome is, but the best. So what you're saying, it sounds like what you're, Erin, if I were to crystallize what you just said, I'd say, stop ruminating on your worst fears. Imagine your most desirable outcome. And how we frame a life's challenge is directly related to how we respond to it.
Absolutely.
So if we frame it in a positive way, the outcome, although we have no control over the outcome, our sense of the outcome will be much improved.
Right. It really is how you think about and respond to any challenge in life. So with this one, how do I want to think about it? I want to think about it in ways that are empowering. I want to imagine my body as being designed to heal, which it is. This miraculous system is designed to heal. So I want to start doing whatever I can to support that belief.
Why do you believe that cancer patients are on the hero's journey, as you've written?
I believe that everyone who receives a diagnosis is on the hero's journey. And I suggest that to anyone who's listening. Why? Because it's a much more empowered way to see yourself. A hero isn't a victim. A hero says, okay, this is the challenge that has come into my life. And for whatever reason, I don't need to understand it, but I believe that something truly wonderful and amazing can come out of it for me and everyone around me. And as I said, it takes great courage when you are facing perhaps death. In the moment, that's how you feel, to say, I am going to choose to look for what I love, what I believe in. I'm going to follow my heart Now, you listen to your medical team and you do all of that you believe is important for you to get
Absolutely.
well.
You have
That's
to
a
believe in your
must.
doctors.
However, there's this deeper part of how you start to think about this illness and how you begin to believe in the possibility, the unlimited possibilities that you can come to this better outcome. And knowing that this is the tough part too, though knowing that whatever the outcome, which we don't know, the most important thing is how am I living today? How am I focusing on today? What is that story that I'm telling myself about this moment and how this journey can really benefit me? And that makes a huge difference. So that's what the hero's journey is.
So the hero's journey is self-empowerment,
Yep.
correct? Where the hero, and we've talked about this, doesn't flee when confronted with a crisis or a conflict. They take charge instead.
Yes, and
That's what the definition of courage is, I believe.
yes. And as you're saying that, how do they come up against their fears? It's like in the myth of the hero's journey. Those fears are the dragons that you slay. In the hero's journey, they're not fire-breathing dragons. They're the dragons in our mind that say, I can't do this. Why is this happening to me? Other people can get well, but I don't really believe I can. Am I worthy enough? And everyone is worthy of a great outcome. But those are the inner dragons that the hero slays. Those thoughts that get in our way. And so when you start to identify them and decide to really shift your beliefs, then that's what opens the door to something that's actually kind of mystical.
Absolutely. And
amazing.
And so a hero takes action in the face of adversity and maintains faith and trust
Right.
in the process.
Exactly.
And you also said that a hero is never a victim.
No, because that attitude is flies in the face of who a hero is.
So Erin, apropos to what we were talking about, why is living true to your nature so important?
I think that that's one of the core benefits when you think about going through a journey like this. Because there's a very old Vedic saying that says, illness is a blessing. That's a rough one.
It's a lot. That's
because it will move you in the direction of your true nature. Because when you're ill, you step back. Sometimes you get this wider view. How am I living my life? Is it true to my beliefs? Is it true to my nature? Like anything else in nature, it's so important to embrace who you are. So who am I? And I believe in essence, we are kind, compassionate, loving beings. That love is really our purpose here. It's the only thing that's really important. And you discover that when you have a vulnerable challenge
Right.
like you and I have gone through.
Right.
What is important to me? Well, it seems very simple, but it's big. It's all about love. How am I loving myself, those around me? How do I show up and share this love? Because in the end, that's really all that matters.
I think there's another part of this. I just got triggered. And it's love is also compassion, self-compassion.
Absolutely.
And as I've written in my book, The Science of Shame and Its Treatment, compassion is attunement and empathy. And how many of us are not in attunement and empathic with ourselves? And we must, at this time, develop that sense of being attuned, being in the moment, having empathy, but most important, leaving ourselves alone, not blaming ourselves for being sick, not looking at the negative and what my limitations are going to be, but what do I have as a result of all this? What am I left with?
Absolutely. So in these old ancient scriptures,
Right.
that it's a blessing because it can move you in this direction, Gerry. And you're right.
Right.
How many people out there, anyone who's living life being critical, judging and comparing ourselves,
Right.
and not really holding yourself dear, because it's that love of self that we then get to share.
And if we were to frame that, I'm going to say that we have to have self-forgiveness, forgiving ourselves for sins we didn't create, and to forgive ourselves for having our cancer, and to know that we are up for the challenge and that we are going to win this war or this journey. Whatever it is, we're going to come out okay, because it brings us closer to who we are. So to highlight what you just said or encapsulate, be authentic with your thoughts and feelings, and don't hide.
I think it brings you out of the darkness. I don't feel there's anything to forgive. I think that what life brings you to believe that it's a divine, sacred journey, and that every single day, no matter what it looks like, is part of that divine path. And that takes great eyes, as you said, of compassion and self-love, to not judge it or compare it or think, why is this happening to me? Just something out of this is going to make my life fuller. It's going to connect me deeper to who I am. And when you live that way, you inspire everyone around you to live that way. We become the teachers for people around us, right?
Absolutely.
We all want to show up and be there.
Absolutely. We take the why out and we put the what and the how in. What can I do with this? And how can I perceive this in a more positive way? So we take the why out. Why is this happening to me? It is. That's the ism.
Yes.
It is. And I can change this. What do I need to be better for me? And how can I look at this in a more positive way?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're saying is live in the now. Tomorrow is only an illusion. All we have is now. So, Erin, when it comes down to living true to your nature and the importance of that, I guess it's important to say that be authentic with your thoughts and feelings and don't hide.
Yes, and it's that opportunity too, Gerry, that a lot of us don't get because we're so busy with life,
Right.
So busy getting all of these things done. And so this opportunity to stop and question again, how am I living my life? Am I connected into what I truly believe? And how do I want, what is the story of my life? You know, that idea that we are in a way every day writing this script and showing up. You know that. We talked about that.
We're doing it right now.
Exactly. And so you get to sit back and really start to listen, as you mentioned before, this inner sense of not looking out there, but looking inside here. And it's a great gift when you start to learn to do that. And then as you get well, as you and I have,
Right.
to continue that practice of living that way, a life that's being really discovered and valued, and taking the time to give it that reflection that can make it that much more amazing.
I know.
truly.
And after my surgery and all of that, when the doctor said to me, Gerry, you've got 20 more years to live. And I'm going to be 150 by the time this is all done. But
Yeah.
thank you, doctor, for giving me that hope. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. And finally, Erin, how has the experience of going through cancer changed you?
Well, wow. I do believe, and I believed this for a long time for me, is that life really is this sacred divine journey. And even, I don't think you have to have a cancer diagnosis to want to show up and live this great life, be more brave, be more insightful. I think it's what we all want.
Be more present.
Be more present to life. Cancer can be this doorway, this gateway to that. And it does, it's like carpe diem. As you said, we're not promised tomorrow, no matter how healthy we seem to be today or whatever. Life is not like that. You
Right.
can get on the 405 today, and that can be it. So it really does give you, for me, more and more of a connection to that there's a divine hand in my life
Right.
that's helping guide me, that's helping me to move in the direction of my very best life.
And the reality of this moment is that we are both cancer survivors. We are not talking from a script about
No.
cancer. We are talking from our cancer and from our health and from our hope and from our treatment and from our joy. We're also talking about living in the now, that tomorrow is only an illusion, but the most important part of life happens now.
Yes.
And it's not happening in our thoughts of the past or the future. It's only happening now.
Absolutely. And that it is a miracle. Life is a miracle.
Wow.
And
Yes.
and again, the most important core thing I think that although it seems so simplistic is that miracle of love, and that you are that. Intrinsically, I believe we're love in a human body, on this temporary path. And that if you hold that every day, help me to be more in that moment with myself, compassion, present to this moment, then that's how miracles happen too. And I thank God every day I go that I'm here and that I can be here with you.
And that life is a miracle.
And life is definitely a miracle.
And we don't question that because we don't question miracles. We accept them on their face.
Absolutely.
Erin, this has been an absolute pleasure having you with me today in my home.
Thank you.
This is a very important day for me. It's my 6-month recovery.
Yes.
And you've been such a significant part of this. And for those at home watching this, if people are going to be stimulated and triggered by you in a positive way, how can people reach you?
You can come to my website, which is happinessheals.com.
And we're throwing that up on the screen right now.
Great.
And what else? Happinessheals.com.
And also, yes, happinessheals.com. If you
And
want
it's
to reach
Erin
me.
at happinessheals.com.
No, it's just happinessheals.com.
Okay.
It's
throw that up.
also my name, erinsommerville.com.
And spell the Sommerville.
Which is ERINSOMMERVILLE.com. So either of those two taglines will get you there. And so I do private coaching. That's been my life. And if you're out there and you would like me to help be one of your guides along this path, it would be my honor and my privilege to empower you and open you up to this miracle that is unfolding, really.
And it's been my honor and my privilege to have you here with me today.
Oh, Gerry, it's so great to be here on the other side of your journey.
Thank you so much.
And to see you looking so amazing, which you are.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Dr. Gerry Fishkin saying goodbye. Have a great day and all my love and hope for you. Take care. Until next time.